With Riot Games making the best MOBA on the market while also making probably the best competitive, I believe it is actually rated, like, for player base wise, it's the best competitive shooter on the market, as well as a new fighting game, a auto chess that I don't think anybody really competes with anymore, a card game, again, a fighting game now, a MOBA, a ARPG, and a bunch of spin-offs. At what point is it smart for Riot to stop branching out, and maybe it's time to go back to Riot Game and not Riot Games? Let's talk about that. Welcome back to the channel, all you losers and degens. Guys, if it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. You are a loser and a degen. My name is Operator Kels. Today we're going to be talking about Riot Games. If you don't know them, they are the company who make the games like League of Legends, which, I mean, I think everybody on the face of the earth has heard of League of Legends. They also make Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, 2XKO. But let's not talk about that name because it absolutely sucks. And they should not have named it. I would have preferred them to name it Project L. They also have an MMO in the works, and I think it's like Project M and P, something like that. There's two other big projects they have in the works. That's not going with what they call Riot Forge, which are a bunch of companies they offshoot to do stuff like the Runed King games, the Poro game, the Blitzcrank game, the Ziggs game, the Echo game. Riot Games is really ramped up after years of being called Riot Games, but only making League of Legends. Now, I really honestly like pretty much, I'm gonna be honest, I like most of their products. I have played League for 14 years and just recently kind of put that down. It's probably not gonna be forever. I mean, we still love League. It just came to the point where they've got some issues with matchmaking, as well as my content is not well versed to play in League of Legends, and there's just not a lot of time. In League takes a lot of time, and you know, when you lose a 45-minute game, you can be like, shit, I could have made this whole fucking video, edited it, and got it out in the time it took me to lose a game where my bot lane went 0-20. But besides my shit luck in League of Legends, let's just talk about what's kind of getting out. 2XKO. 2XKO is their fighting game. I'm starting to actually get more into fighting games than I've ever been in my life. I've always grown up with them. My first game I ever remember playing was Mortal Kombat. Yes, my dad raised me right, and some of you Karens will think, oh, you raised him wrong. Well, fuck you, Karen. But with that, again, I've been in fighting games my whole life, but I've never been super engrossed with them. But this last year, or I think I picked it up at Christmas. Yeah, picked up Street Fighter 6. And honestly, it's the most fun I've had playing a fighting game since Fighters. And Fighters was the first time I was like, and just outside of like playing with friends, I was like, man, I actually want to be good at this fighting game. Even though Fighters is, that is a Dragon Ball Z fighting game, and it's hands down the best Dragon Ball Z fighting game. Fight me if you have a different opinion. And it was made by Arc Systems, who make the best fighting games on the market. They make Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, some other games that I can't name because they're really weird and complicated. But they also make Dragon Ball Z Fighters, or Fighter Z. I still think we don't know how to pronounce that game, but we all know it was a masterpiece. But I love that game. Started to get into it. Now Street Fighters has like blown me away as somebody who has hated Street Fighters since the moment I started playing it back in 2. I have like tried, and I've always looked and said this looks terrible, but I like 6. But I'm getting off on a tangent there with that. But Riot is making 2XKO, formerly known as Project L. Yes, they should have named it something else. Yes, they should have named it anything else than 2XKO. But if you don't know, we are in 2024. If the horrible year that this is tuning up to be, because, you know, you hope you don't like money. But anyway, we are 5 years right now out from the announcement of Project L. It was announced to us first in 2019, and it will now be released in 2025. That is a 6-year development for a fighting game. Now, I understand some of you fighting game players out there like, that means we may get the most well-polished fighting game ever. I'm just going to go ahead and say it doesn't take that long to make a fighting game. I'm sorry, it doesn't take that long of straight development to make a fighting game. They aren't that complicated. God of War had a shorter development time period than that. And that's where I started coming into, because if you kind of kept up, if you've been a Riot shill like me over the years, you know that Riot they announced Valorant, and Valorant came out, I want to say within 8 months of being announced, or hit beta. I believe we got, if my time frames are correct, we got announcement of Project V, or Project A, which became Valorant, and I believe October, November, and by May we had beta. I know this because I was in the beta. Now, my timeline could be a little bit off. Feel free to let me know in the comments below very civilly, because, you know, YouTube comments are always very civil. But that came out very quickly. Teamfight Tactics, I think, was like in Legends of Runeterra was like a couple of months after, you know, announcement, and to like be able to play them. I think Teamfight Tactics literally was like 1 or 2 months, very quick, but obviously shorter, you know, not even on the same pace as Valorant. But they announced Project L around the same time, and then we got nothing like for a very long time. We've just gotten like drip fed stuff here and there for Project L, which again, 2XKO. And now they're like, oh, we're finally going to release. And my thing is like, that's not a good sign. Yes, if they want to make like a big fighting game, maybe it's just because that's not their forte. And their struggle, like, yeah, hey, they're struggling to make a game because that's not what they usually do. But like, that in lies the problem. Look at Blizzard. They tried to do everything. At one point they made the best MMO, the best ARPG, one of the best. They brought hero shooters back. And let's be honest, they even tried to make a MOBA and honestly, the MOBA, I understand that dog ass game had a lot of fans for it. Was not part of that. I did not like Heroes of the Storm. And I truly think, oh yeah, they also made the best RTS game for a while. Like StarCraft was incredible. I would say best RTS game ever made, StarCraft 1 and 2. But I'm also not a huge RTS fan, so don't quote me on that. My leg is bleeding. We will ignore that and move on. I just wanted to update you guys on that one. So with that, Blizzard branched out way too much. They said, oh, hey, we made WoW. Now we made Diablo. Now we made StarCraft. Now we made Overwatch. And they kept expanding that library to other games. And then they slowly started to down spiral. Now look at World of Warcraft. I tried to play that in retail a few months ago. God, that game is terrible. I play Final Fantasy. And that comes in, that will leak back to Riot because they are making an MMO, which we also got announced around the same time of Project L and everything else. And the only thing that we've heard in years is that the guy that they brought on, who I believe was a pretty big guy working for Blizzard on WoW, left. And I think he was like the head of the project. But that's kind of the same thing we've been doing like with Project L. Again, I'm just gonna keep calling it Project L. Project L and 2XKO, if you don't know about that. They're fighting game. I just can't get over calling it 2XKO. I haven't adapted to that yet. So we didn't get a lot of updates. We'd get updates every once in a while on Project KO and what the F. Project L got, drops here and there. But I mean, honestly, I don't think you should be branching out. The thing is, and Riot does dominate. Now, Legends of Runeterra, they do not do well in. But I also think that whole market for Hearthstone and a, Legends of Runeterra type trading card game has gone down specifically. I don't think there was never a massive market for that. But I think there was a market for that at one point. But now the big games like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, even Pokemon is just announced. I've got some shorts going up about Pokemon Day. I'm not happy about that either. But they've got their little pocket Pocket game going live. They've got, again, Magic. I know One Piece is coming in. What else is it? Dragon Ball is making theirs. Like, it's just getting flooded by the big guys. And yeah, I know Dragon Ball, One Piece are not big. There's always, if you didn't know, there's always been a Dragon Ball Z trading card game for a while. It's just shifted very drastically. Like, there's always been for as long as I can remember, there's always been a Dragon Ball Z carding game, but the one that currently exists now that's actually doing very well is not the same as the old one. Same with Digimon. Digimon's actually coming back with their trading card games, but it's not the same kind of game like back in the day. Like, there was an old card game, old Digimon card battle game on the PS1. That is not the same Digimon card battle that is now doing very well in numbers. Now, with all that being said, these markets get flooded. And the same thing, the fighting game market, while not flooded, is pretty reliable, and it only has like, 4 or 5 like big franchises that just keep releasing. Mortal Kombat, I don't see them ever releasing. And I guess what they call the NetherRealm games now, because now they've, they have branched out and done Injustice games, which I absolutely love. I think I've loved the Injustice games more than I've loved the Mortal Kombat games recently. But Injustice 1 and 2, then the Mortal Kombats, they're head by NetherRealms. Then obviously Capcom makes Street Fighter. Then I don't know who makes Tekken, because I don't give a rat's ass about Tekken. Then there's the apes who play Arena Fighters, which, yeah, I can have fun playing Arena Fighters every once in a while. But I mean, there are people in my comments when I talk about fighting games that thinks that Arena Fighters are the best fighting games out there and that they hold up competitively. And bro, you are wrong. Those don't hold up competitively. They are very dumb, bad games, but they're gonna be fun games. Kind of like with the Budokai games. They're not that great, but you get to play a fighting Dragon Ball Z game, which is really fun. But I wouldn't call them good. They are just very, very fun. But it's like quality. Anyway, getting off a tangent again. But those are out there, and they've always, an Art System, I don't think they ever miss. Like, I know I simped them up because I really love their games, but they really don't miss. But with that, Riot has now entered themselves into that, and that market typically does not do too well with newcomers. They come and wash out pretty fast. And I really don't want to see, like, I just don't, Riot aims to be, because they do, they're used to it. Valorant dominates. Teamfight Tactics dominates. Yes, it's a very, very, very small market. Not a lot of people are trying for that, but there was a time where a lot of people were trying with that. Now you have League of Legends, easily the biggest MOBA out there. People will argue, oh, Smite. Yeah, look at Smite 2. How's that going for you? Oh, well, Dota. Yeah, dude, nobody has mentioned Dota coming out of their mouths but Dota players. League of Legends pulls numbers every year for Worlds. And again, Riot kind of proves that they're pretty much built an entire mega company off of League of Legends. But I digress. They dominate in pretty much everything they put their hat in. Again, their card game's not that great, but how long that's going to keep going before they become Blizzard? And I just don't want to see that. I don't want. We live in a unfortunately a time where a bunch of companies just kind of take in and they're like, hey, I'm gonna do everything, kind of like Walmart now. Like Walmart doesn't make. Actually, they do. I was gonna say Walmart doesn't make soda, but they definitely do. They make everything now. They make candy, they make milk, they make clothes. If it can be sold in Walmart probably makes a brand of it. And I think they just bought Vizio. Like, but that's the thing is like these. I think Riot's kind of doing that in the gaming market where they're like, hey, we're just gonna do everything, and you can't win at everything. And I think the fighting game and the MMO, which I was very hyped at one point for the MMO, but now I'm not so much, because also MMOs historically don't do well. While a lot exist, very few, like 2 or 3, really stood up the test of time. And WoW does this. I don't ever want to go back to WoW, but I mean, I understand that some people like WoW, but I don't. I play Final Fantasy. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment below. I hope, like I said, I hope they stop expanding out. But remember to hit, if you've made it that far, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what color your pet is. Is it blue? Because we got to praise the algorithm. Guys, I will catch you in the next video. I'm sorry I've been away for a few days. I've not posted a few videos. This video is just to go out on Sunday. I've been working on a side project, or not a side project, but a special kind of secret project I was keeping hidden. And it's me doing a platinum run of Final Fantasy VII. And I kind of let that slip with me trying to also do schooling while I'm unemployed for trying to get some IT certifications. And I kind of let things slide a little bit. I haven't had time to make videos. And I was trying to get the Final Fantasy video out before Final Fantasy dropped Friday. That's not gonna happen. I still have to beat hard mode, the extra in-game, like couple of in-game bosses, and then I have to beat Yuffie's story. And it's Wednesday morning at 4:30 a.m. I'm not gonna get that done. It took me over 12 hours of editing for the Kingdom Hearts 1 video. But let me tell you, I have a lot to say about that game, about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's not all very good.